Hi, I'm Cindy from BeautyOnSquare.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make poison ivy. You can also use this same technique to create a forest creature or some sort of a fairy. It's a really fun, easy thing to do. You don't even need any sewing skills. So I've taken our halter leotard, I had placed it on the girl that's going to wear it, and I put a pin. Her bust ends about right here, but I wanted to give extra room, even though it stretches and everything. So I went ahead and went a couple inches below her bust line, and then I put a pin where I wanted it to end up at the top. Now we're going to stretch some ivy across this way. So we're going to go ahead and, you might want to do this first. I feel very comfortable. I'm using an old bar of soap. It will wash out, or you can use the ones from like hotels. They're perfect because they're nice, small in size. And I've put a mark where I want to cut. So that way I don't go too far. And that's always washable. So this will put a nice, even, nice look across. I think in looking at this, I'm going to want to go not rounded there, but just a little off. So it's not so even. And then I'll go in and clean up those lines. Clean those all up. Okay. There's a little tag right there. You can always clean it up more, but when you do this now, with this particular one, there's some white lining in there. I'm going to go ahead and cut even beyond that. I don't want that popping out. So I'm going to go in and cut about 1 inch off so it stays inside and doesn't stick out and you don't see white. So real quick and easy way to do it. If you're going to be wearing it a lot and it's not just for Halloween, you might want to go in and sew the two pieces together, and then let's trim this up too. It's looking a little funky. And then you'll go in and you can sew a little bit of elastic on there or sequins with elastic around it. So we're going to put this here. Now, we've taken, I'm going to set this over here. We've taken fabric, and I've used fabric paint and painted leaves. We have instructions in another video. You can click on the other videos to find out how to do this. So we've just wound it around and then afterwards trimmed it away. You don't have to finish off the Lycra. It won't shred or anything. And we've created a skirt with that, with all those pieces, just sewing them to a band. Or you can start with a skirt that already has it sewn together and just cut those leaves out of it. But we want to add more than just that to this. So there's a few different things we're going to do. One of them is we're going to create an ivy that winds up. The other one is we're going to add some pieces to the skirt, just kind of shred it up. Not quite pieces of ivy or leaves, but close enough. So we've taken a strip like this, and if you don't sew, this is fine. What you're going to do is you're going to leave this top part, for the most part, attached. Let's go ahead and do that first. So we'll leave this very edge attached. We're going to fold these, bring this here, and I'm going to cut. So it'll leave a spot to tie from, and then, so you still have that right there. Okay, so now we're going to take this, we're going to fold it up, fold it into multiple pieces. And then we're going to cut leaves out of it. I'm going to cut this raw edge off first. Okay. And then now we're going to cut a leaf shape out. This, you don't want it to be perfect. You want it to be a little choppy. Let's go here. But don't cut all the way up, because you'll need them to be attached. Throw that away. And then go ahead and shred this up a little. See how it gives it just kind of a rough look, so it doesn't look all clean? Now I didn't cut all the way up to the top, so I've left a piece there so it's all secure. And then we have this that can be tied and just kind of brought around the body too. Okay, so we've done that one like that. And go ahead and clip anything that... So all these can be just tied underneath a skirt if you use a pre-bought skirt, or you can sew them into place. So we'll have that one there. We'll end up creating the same thing out of a piece of this. And meantime, what I have done also is I've taken this fabric. I'll use this as an example to show you how to do it. Now, I think it's really important to have multicolors. If your leotard is too bright for you, you can pick a different color, or what you can do is go ahead and dye it a little. So I fold this in half, lining up the edges, and then fold it in half again and in half again. Now this is all rough, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that away, and then just maybe use my hand. That way I can just use that as a gauge. Doesn't need to be perfect. As a matter of fact, we do not want it perfect. You've never seen things in nature that are perfect, so you want to make sure that you don't create something like that. Okay, so now we're going to take some strips that we've already cut. I'm going to take 2 layers. They're different sizes. They're not even. They're not perfect. We're going to go ahead and do this. Now this is going to go to the top of the shoulder down. So we have these multiple layers. And you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm actually going to go ahead. Let's do this. Move this out of the way so you can see. Let's do dark, light, dark, light. So what we're going to be doing here is creating some ivy and creating some leaves. And then we're going to go dark. And you would wind this down. You want it to stretch across the body. You might want it to go over the shoulder, so you'll give yourself a little extra room in that. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to take some extra scraps here, and I'm going to just cut some strips. Oh, lost the scissors. There they are. Just cut some strips. Won't go long. They don't have to be huge. You're going to use them to tie the front and back together. If you know how to sew, you can just sew a strip right down the center. But for this, let's say you don't know how to sew and you don't want to have to worry about that. Go ahead and use a pin to hold these into place. And go ahead, and I would say probably an easy measurement is just about every palm space. Put a pin, putting all the pieces together, because you're going to want to make sure that there's no big gaps anywhere. You can go smaller if you want, or bigger, but less work if you go smaller. So we'll go ahead and start on this one. We're going to take a cut in it. Be careful of your fingers behind. What I'm doing is I'm folding the fabric in half like this, moving my finger out of the way, and then cutting like that. Don't ever, if you fold it like this and cut, you're going to slice into your finger. Okay? So we're going to cut one space above and one space below. And see how my fingers are out of the way. So it creates 2 holes like that. And then we're going to take this piece and put it through. Now we're going to tie it off. Go there. Then go to the next one. Fold it in half. This is like the center of the vine. Hands away before I cut. Fold it in half. Hands away before I cut. You want to be careful not stabbing into it, because take that pin out. Don't forget the pins. That could be quite painful. And then you're just going to keep doing that down the way. So once you've got the whole thing completed, now we're going to go ahead and just cut. There's usually in nature you don't see a squared off end, so make sure and just cut random cuts on that. and make it messy. Make it not neat. You can cut into it a little. Take those pieces and make little slices into it. Little slices into it. Keep your fingers out of the way. And go a little from the top. It's very rare you see very clean lines in nature. You can kind of pull it at two when you do it. So it's going to create like this type of a look. You can use a stiffer fabric if you want, but we're just using this to create right down the ivy. So what we're going to end up doing when we put this on, now when you do it, you'll want to make sure all these pieces are not there. The raw edge, you don't want to see that. So we'll cut that off, keeping your fingers out of the way. Also, when you cut like this, be careful. You don't want to cut in between your fingers. I have done that a few times. It's pretty painful. So now this very end, if you have uneven, you can just go ahead and use that uneven piece, or I'm going to go ahead and cut a hole smack dab in the middle, and I'm going to put the back piece through it and knot it. That way it'll hold that ivy together. So if you don't want to sew, if you want to sew, you can sew it right on here. If not, just tie it off. And if you don't have extra fabric laying around, you can dye an old sheet. You can, because this would work great as a sheet, not the skirt part. You need a base that stretches, and you would need for the skirt some sort of a skirt that has body. But you could even just tie it on the side if it's fabric. So you could take an old sheet and dye it multiple greens. And then what we're going to do is this will just come down here. When we get to this hole, we'll take one of these strings and we'll do that same thing. We'll cut a hole and tie that through. Now you're gonna just go and layer all the pieces. So you'll put this on, tie it off at the waist, put the dark green on top of it, and then you'll place the skirt on top. And if you're just tying, then you would have had a strip here. You can do that, and then you can paint these if you want, not, it's up to you. Otherwise, you can go ahead and just cut everything up and have it really random looking. And that's how you get this look. Thank you for watching our video. And if you enjoyed it, make sure and click here to subscribe, because we're going to have some amazing DIY videos coming out. And if you want to get our free, complete dance costume DIY guide, click right here or go to bdancewear.com/DIY guide. And lastly, if you have any questions or ideas for future videos, please leave it in the comments below. Thanks again for watching our video. And remember, be original, be colorful, bdancewear.com.